Alright, welcome to the PoE-2 0.5 build update. This is pretty much the end of my build. I'm already level 90. I've been enjoying the hell out of this league. I finally made Monk work. It's a miracle. I have just not been able to vibe well with Monk. And let me show you what I did. So, we went with the new Monk Ascension, the Martial Artist. It's the only reason I'm playing him. And one of the main things that stuck out to me was the first Ascension nodes I went for. 15% of it? No, I'm kidding. Way of the Stone Fist. So Way of the Stone Fist is super sick, and it basically changes the way all gloves work. Literally all gloves, from basic white gloves to unique gloves. It just completely changes them. And it does that by adding Way of the Stone Fist and changing how attributes work on them. Now, Way of the Stone Fist, if you look at my gloves here, is giving me 3 evasion per player level and 1 to my maximum energy shield. Pretty fucking sick. And if you look at the rest of the things on this glove, I'm getting 18% global defense, which is like the best multiplier in the game. I'm getting gained as fire and cold, again the best damage multiplier. I'm getting maximum resistance and the regular res. And then we don't have to worry about the projectile. Sadly, I don't shoot a bow, otherwise those gloves would be sick. But this is what these gloves would look like to a non-monk player. Still pretty good, don't get me wrong, but adding 5 to 12 fire and cold is nowhere near as good as gain percent. And also just the max reses and the overall. So that's how Sunfist works. Works even better for some uniques. I mean, some uniques can get really crazy. This is the one I see people talking about. So this is what they normally look like. Whatever. Stone Fist them. And now all damage contributes to cold and freeze, along with giving you maximum cold resistance, gain as cold, and evasion. I mean, they're pretty good. Sadly, my build wasn't built around them, but I have seen people talking about that for like more like Frost Strike, Hollow Flicker Monk, which I'm not actually doing. I use Killing Palm and Whirling Assault. I'm not doing like Flicker Monk, but it exists if you so wanted. All right, so that's my first Ascension. That's Way of the Stone Fist. Very cool. Just makes your gloves very useful. Like basically makes your gloves have the defense of your chest piece slot and gives them really nice skills to work with. Just awesome. Second thing I went for was Hollow Technique. So what this does is it spawns spirit bells around you. At first it's 3, you can up to 4 or 5 depending on your passives, not important. What is important is these bells always count as critically hitting, so any skill that pops after crit or has combo based on crit or whatever, these will trigger. And when you hit them, they are always primed, so any skill that's based on priming will trigger. And you get frenzy charges. So they're awesome. So that's basically what this whole build's about. It's basically abusing things like Killing Palm to teleport around for primed enemies, so I can teleport to my bells for movement, and then using the extra power charges and side charge staff to fully power up my build. But we'll get into that more in a second. So it's really nice. And the next upgrade to that is Hollowed Resonance Technique. So what this does is puts one of those spirit bells on my back, and anytime I crit, it does an AoE damaging attack that does a ton of stun damage, like a ton. And this stun buildup's really nice because the stun monster is not fighting you. It's honestly better than freeze because they literally have a roll animation where you can hit them, then they sit on the ground for a bit, then they get up and like shake their head. Huge opening. Cool. So that was my first ascendancy, second, third, and the fourth ascendancy I went for was Hollow Form. This is Shadow Clone Jutsu. It's really cool. So whatever move you have slotted into the technique gets multiplied. So it's 1 by default, but if you have those charges that were very easily able to build, you can get up to 6. And it's really sick. And so basically you yourself cast the attack, and then 6 of your clones will come out and do the damage for you, and just destroy bomb. I mean, you're literally 6xing your damage while you do the cast. Now granted, Standing Stone casting on a monk who you've noticed only has 1,000 shields, that's kind of scary, but we'll get into that in a second. As far as the rest of the passive tree goes, I mean, we're starting the monk tree, so for a good long while I was using most of it because the monk tree is just so good, but I finally spec'd out of it to get crit, a little bit of damage, tiny bit of mana regen, but the main thing is damage, crit, area of effect, dodge, frenzy charges, crit, dodge, element, stun, crit, dodge, little tiny bit of frost because I need to activate Herald Device. All of these are just for attack speed and crit. Crit. I came up here for this jewel socket. I also eventually might spec into this. We'll see. And I can always go Chaos Enoch, although I don't think I'll be doing that this time. But yeah, it's the build. I'm basically just specking a ton of crit, a little bit of stun, and area of effect, because I want my bells and everything I'm doing to spread. I'm doing a lot of like spread damage AoE. So that's the basic passives. I am level 90. I have 10 more points to spend if I get there. The most leagues I only plan on going to like 92 or 93 realistically. Get leveling just becomes ridiculous. And I kind of want to pick up enhanced reflexes. This will bring me up to 63% evasion and 40% deflection. And that's just awesome. That's like my defensive layer. Guess we can go into that right now. So here we go. There's all my stats. Nice and nice. Evasion, as you can tell, is definitely my main defensive layer, although I do have great reses, 2 of them being above cap because of my gloves. And yeah, so that's that. Now let us go into the actual build itself. So the staff and the dragon form are just kind of leftovers in the fact that I'm using a full staff. They're not real, I don't really use them. Hollow Focus. It has magnified area because we want these are the spirit bells. We want them to explode, we want them to do damage and a bigger effect. Cooldown recovery, so more of them spawn quicker for us to teleport around and hit to and get more frenzy charges. Close combat, so when we do blow them up, they do damage to, like, more damage to things around them. Blind, which will come into effect a little later. And then Life Drain, again, which will come into effect a little later. But my potion, I guess I'll explain real quick. My potion doesn't let me heal normally because what it does is it basically makes me invincible for 7.5 seconds. Not quite invincible. It takes 50% of my damage, or 30% of my damage is reduced and recouped as life when this is active. So basically for those 7 seconds, any damage I'm taking, I'm just getting back. Between my dodge and other things, this might not look as good on paper, but dude, in practice, I feel virtually immortal when I pop that. I'll pop it and I'll take like normal attacks that would win, like the monkey in any of the maps, if you know, you know. He can just instant one-shot you. I pop this, he doesn't even break my shields. So I'm getting just so much of that back instantly. It's, chef's kiss. Only downside is you do have to remember to pop that on a relatively quick timer, and if you run out of frenzy, like charges, it can be awkward, although I do have a little solution for that in this build too. But that's that. And while we're here, this is my mana flask. I didn't really have mana problems with this build, so it's not like I needed to chug mana. And if you don't really need to chug, or even if you do just need a little more sustain, this flask's always awesome. It just adds to your total recovery. So I'm getting like basically 100 mana a second. I almost can't spend it even if I'm purposely trying to spend as much mana as physically possible with the build. Peak. Just mana's not a problem I need to worry about. That's the way we like it. Anyway, back to the build. So that's that. Hollow Residence is the bell on our back. Again, we're just kind of going for stun, damage. Hollow Form. So Whirling Assault, we'll skip that for a second. Whirling Assault's our main damage. It's what we'll be doing while we're walking forward and hitting, W basically. And Hollow Form for bosses has another Whirling Assault in it, and then its own little buffs. It's kind of nice. And these work. This is our Frenzy Charge. So basically we use this, and it's adding 1 to 20 lightning damage to our attacks, along with all our other element bonuses, like from our gloves and stuff. So it's actually doing a lot of ice damage as well, which is why I have Atar's Vengeance on here, because that's just going to slowly give me up to like 15% extra cold damage as I'm just going around doing this. And this also gives range to all my attacks. So when I'm doing Whirling Assault, it looks like that. But when I do it with this active, it shoots lasers out of it while I'm doing it. It's awesome. Tempest Bells, even more damage. So the main source of damage, I guess I could quickly pop in here and just kind of explain this real quick. So when I'm inside a map, you'll see the Spirit Bells spawn. I can punch the Spirit Bells, and I get charges around my character. And then I can absorb the charges to power up my staff. And then if I do this, see, it shoots the lasers out. Pretty nice. Sadly, I just realized I can't hit anything to activate my bell. But this is ideal. And then I can summon my Shadow Clones. And depending on how many frenzy charges I have, I'll have more of them. And they'll hit these bells. And these bells will also ring. And I can summon 3 of these bells. So ideally, the boss will be in the middle. The bells will be around it. And there'll be 6 clones, each one hitting 2 bells. Just doing unbelievable amounts of stun and ice damage. And a little bit of thunder, too. And that'll normally get the job done. Thought I'd show that off real quick, and then you guys can actually see what the spirit bells look like, so that's kind of nice. Cool, cool. So that's Tempest Bell. You guys saw Killing Palm, just movement. It is a culling tool, so it's kind of nice. That's why it has Blazing Critical on it. Oh, I should also explain that too. This is a crit build. I have 56% crit, 281% crit damage. It's real nice. Masters of Destruction's cool. This is just if I build combo, my next move gets an extra 69% chaos damage. So again, you go in there, you hit the boss with your charges already active, because you can just have those going. You pop bells, you pop this, you pop your hollow form, the boss evaporates. Devour. is a leftover thing from earlier on. It's another way to generate charges. I can quickly at any time turn into it. I can't actually do it right now because I have no body seat. But if there's a body around, I can turn into a dragon, eat the body, and get 3 charges. It's really quick, and coming in and out of dragon form gives you iframes. Honestly, I'm going to take it out of the build eventually. I just haven't found anything to replace it. So there it sits. Wind Dancer is a passive. It's giving me more stacks of evasion. It's just nice. And it also, when you do get hit by an enemy, it gives them Gale Force Wind while it's built up here in the corner. And while it's built and not being used, all of these can be active. Clarity for little mana regen, and Main, just to help slow down there. So basically everything I'm fighting is also maimed and blinded. This helps with my evasion. Herald of Ash. So if somehow it doesn't die to the initial hit or the ice, mainly if it doesn't die to the ice lasers, it'll die to the initial hit, and then it gets Herald of Ash. And if it doesn't die to the raw damage and it dies to the element, it gets Herald of Ice. Basically, if anything that dies makes an explosion that pops off it, which is helping my clear. And I'm already hitting AoE, and so I'm just rapidly clearing outwards. Herald of Ice, though, because it is active so much, I put Bounty on. And this is kind of helping with these. So basically, every time Herald of Ice is proccing and getting me kills, I'm getting even more Frenzy charges than I would by default to fill up my flasks. This one's basically fit, but for this one. Because I am popping this, not quite on cooldown, because I don't need to do it like that. But anytime I'm like, starting a ritual, or starting an abyss, or just like running into like a huge pack of like super powered up monsters on a T15, yeah, I'm popping my inbon. And so you want to make sure it's regenerating pretty nicely. And this, plus just natural frenzy like potion regeneration, I've literally never run out while basically spamming it on cooldown. So that's the moves, that's the passive tree. I can quickly go over gear. I mean, we already kind of went over the potions. These aren't that important. Here's my weapon. It's okay. It can have a +5 instead of a +3 to melee skills. And realistically, it should have like 80 to 120 ice. And the physical should be thunder. And if it had like 120% increase, this staff could use some work. But funny enough, finding a better one's a nightmare. So I did what I could. I put in a special rune, which gives it 5% extra damage to all elements, which is a huge buff for this guy. And then I put in a perfect glacial rune for a little extra ice damage. So that's that. This is just a helmet. I was just trying to build reses and resistances. Nothing really too crazy. It's literally the whole point of my gear is just to build... the rings have a little bit of damage to help. But the rest of the gear is just reses and evasion. Because most of my damage is coming from stuff. And then I have this on my offhand. It doesn't even need the +2. I just found it while running the campaign, and it's how I use Devour. Oh, I could show you the dragon that way. And so that's that. And that's my build. I've been having fun with it. I've been pretty casually clearing out. I mean, show you my Atlas map real quick. I need to go finish the Abyss quest line. It was like go up here, then go down here, then go over there. But I did finish Breach, and I did finish... Oops. The wall shenanigans, and I did start Delirium and like the tree, and eventually I want to head over and play in, where is she? Her temple. We'll get there. That's the build. That's where I'm going. I probably got another level or 2 on me before I respec into a Chronomancer or go play Total War. We'll see.